guys, and welcome to the Fish Room. I'm Rachel O'Leary, and it's time for a Tuesday tip. Now, with this summer tubbing season really kicking into high gear, one of the things you guys ask the most about is temperature. So I thought today we would take a look at a really valuable tool to have both with an aquarium, especially if you have a bunch of them, but also for summer tubbing, and that is infrared thermometers. Now, I have quite a few. In our aquariums, it's much simpler to measure temperature. There's all sorts of products, be it the stick-on thermometers or the ones that you can affix to the glass, or even digital probes. Out in our tubs, it's a bit more complicated. Now, these things are not perfect, and not all of them are created equal. There is a huge range of quality out there, but all of them have sort of similar abilities. One thing that I should mention is that these are designed to read surface temperature, so if you shoot them at glass, you're going to get a very different reading than you do if you shoot them at the top of the water. So I do recommend doing that. Also, depending on how affordable they are, you may have to be substantially closer than with a higher quality one. I have two here that I've been using for quite a while. This is an X-Tech IR100. I think it's about $35 on average. And it's one that I like because it can store measurements, but that's really not that important. And what I do with these, especially with my tubs, is every morning I go out and I measure all the tubs to see what the temperature is first thing in the morning, and then I'll check again at the peak of the sun in the afternoon. And what this does is it allows me to have or make a more educated guess when it's safe to move out fish, as well as to see what sort of temperature trends are going on in my tubs. This helps us with species selection, safety, and to know if it's actually feasible to raise fish outdoors. A lot of you in much warmer climates than my own have been asking me, can you? And I would really recommend that, especially you folks, get something like this in order to get an idea of what temperature ranges you're really working with in your tubs throughout the different times of the day. Now, this one here is from Harbor Freight, and I believe it was about 10 bucks. And when I test these two together, they read the same measurement. So I can only assume that even though it's $10 and this one is $35, they're fine. So I'm just going to show you real quick the measurements of these indoors, and then we'll head outside and I'll show you what the morning is like in my tubs. Let's get started. Now, if you're new here, I heat the room down here. I have a lot of aquariums, and running that many heaters is just not feasible or very financially sound decision when I can just run one heater to heat the room. But there are a few exceptions, one of which are all my high pancistrus or the super fancy plecos that require very warm water. And because of that, there's 3 aquariums in the fish room that have heaters running now. And this gun says that this temperature is 81 degrees. Now, most of these have a range of error of about 4 degrees, but for our applications, that gives us enough of an idea that we can make educated decisions for a fish. Let's go check the tubs. So each morning I come out here to the tubs and I just check the temperature to see where it is first thing in the morning. Now, what I like about this little infrared gun is that with how close I am, I can really do readings on all of the tubs. And what I find is that there's a very large range. As expected, these tubs with a bigger, shallower surface area are quite a few degrees warmer than the other ones. These are hanging out around 65 degrees. The big guy here about 60. And then these Rubbermaid stock tubs are around 62 degrees. Now, all of these tubs get absolute full sun. Let's go check the ones in the greenhouse. But before we go, let me just show you how much life is already in these tubs. Now, these are all little copepods, Daphnia really, that just show up once there's organic matter in the water. This could be leaf litter, it can be my plants, it can be algae. And this is an exceptional food source for fish, and it's making me feel really impatient to get fish out here. I have to look at my weather patterns for this week, but it's possible it could happen this week. I mean, look at this. incredible amount of food for my fish. So out here in the greenhouse, it is already 100 degrees and it is only about 9 a.m. Because of that, the tubs are almost 70 degrees on this bottom level. Now they are shaded by my benches, which helps a bit. The stuff on the top row would get substantially warmer, which is why I've opted to not put any fish up there this year, because last season it didn't go super awesome. But as you can see, you know, the time is almost here to be able to move out all the fish that I want to do. I'll check the temperatures again this evening or late afternoon and really see what the range is in the yard tubs. But the vast majority of the species I want to move into them, which are the white clouds, can take these temperature ranges, so I'm super geeked. Now these tubs over in this portion of my yard are predominantly shaded. They only get 1 to 2 hours of direct sun, which is considered low light for a yard tub. And because of that, they're still only about 53 degrees, which means it's going to take quite a bit longer until I'm ready to move fish into these tubs. But that's okay, because the plants are growing awesome and they look great. And I love the sound that I'm getting from this waterfall feature that we made. As always, I want to hear from you guys. Do you have one of these that you really, really like? For me, spending 10 bucks on this Centec infrared thermometer from Harbor Freight was absolutely worth every penny. It may not be the most accurate of devices, but it certainly gives me a good idea of what I'm dealing with around my yard and greenhouse, as well as in the fish room. Now, I've had lots of different guns like this over the year that allow me to measure temperature, from very, very high-end ones to very affordable. And really, for my application, I don't see the reason to spend a ton of money. I'd rather spend 10 bucks, and then that way, if I drop it in an aquarium or a tub, I'm not that upset that it's broken. Make sure you're subscribed with that notification bell on so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos, because fish are coming out soon.